All right, so here today, what we have here is a flatbed truck. This is a 1975 F250 Highboy with a flatbed on it, and I want some sides on this truck. Everything I put on this truck just slides off of it, and I want some sides so that I don't have to worry about things falling off here. So we're gonna make some sides. Obviously, there's a number of different ways to go about this, but this is how I'm gonna do it. And these are the tools that I am going to use today. And I've got my impact driver with the screws, the hammer, chisel, a saw there, square, and a measuring tape, and a pencil. Then we've got our wood, a couple 2x4s, and then 4 2x8s that are 8 feet long. The 2x4s are gonna go in these slots right along here. And then the 2x8s, I think I'm gonna go on the inside of the 2x4s there. And the reason for that, I believe, the reason I wanna do that is so that it goes inside of this little pocket right here. So I think that's kind of my plan for now, what I'm gonna do. And tentatively, I'm gonna run 1 8-foot all the way to the back here. And then I think halfway, I'm gonna run another 8-foot or another 2x8, probably to this point right here actually is what I think I'm gonna do. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Back to there, angle it up, and so that gives me a little bit higher up at the front there. And then in the very back here, I want another 2x8 that can slide in, that'll go across. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna kind of get to work here. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these 2x4s here, put these in. As you can see, these have kind of been bent in just a little bit here. It's not perfectly out like it should be. So what we're gonna do is get a hammer. We're gonna knock those out to start off with, and then we're gonna get our 2x4s. We're gonna put it right here over the hole. I know it's kind of hard to see with the sun and whatnot, but we'll put it over here, kind of mark it out a little bit, and then we'll use the chisel to kind of fine tune it. And then this is kind of our template, and then we will we'll cut the other ones and mark those up the same and do that. So I'm going to get started on this, and then I'll be back in a few minutes once we get this side mocked up and put in place. All right, so here is the finish project. It turned out pretty well. As you can see, pretty much used everything that we said we were going to use. After I used the weed binner to kind of burn the sides here and get that burnt look on it, I then coated it with boiled linseed oil and mineral spirits. I usually do about 2/3 linseed oil to about 1/3 mineral spirits or so. You can go upwards of a half of mineral spirits if you want, but mineral spirits, that you can use lacquer thinner as well. All that does is kind of thin it out a little bit and helps it to soak into the wood better, which gets you a little bit longer lasting. This wood didn't take much at all because it was new, and it's not old and weathered, so it's not soaking in a lot. So I'll have to do it again here in a few months, and then it'll soak in a lot more, but once it gets weathered a little bit. But for now, this is what we've done. As you can see, I kind of use a sander to kind of round off the edges here a little bit. And yeah, it turned out really nice. So things I would have done differently, I used a reciprocating saw to cut all of these edges like this and this and this. I did use a jigsaw to kind of cut out these pockets on both sides there. And this is just one board right here. All I did is take one board and literally just cut it right in half like this. So I only had to make one cut like that, which was really nice. So a jigsaw, if you've got a table saw or a chop saw for that matter, it make it a lot easier to make some of these cuts right here rather than with the just reciprocating saw right here. These cuts were kind of these cuts right here were kind of a pain with just the reciprocating saw. It's hard to get perfectly even and everything else to do that 45-degree cut. So chop saw would work a lot better for that. Pre-drill your holes here, your screw holes, so that you don't crack and break the wood. I did crack and break the wood even though I pre-drilled on this one, so I just put some screws in there to kind of help it out. Let's see what else I would have done differently. I don't think there's not much else I would have done differently. I kind of I did a little bit differently than I had anticipated here in the back. I was going to do just a straight 90 degrees over and down and then put the board on the very end. But I decided, to kind of match the angles. I would do the angle in the back and then bring that farther forward. So mostly dirt bikes, things like that, come back here and whatnot. And I figured the extra few inches of room really didn't make much difference to me. So I moved that up just a little bit further there. And let's see what else. I think really that's about it. A little bit time consuming of a project. It took me a full afternoon and then a full morning. So I'd say a full 8-hour day when it was all said and done. I know it doesn't seem like it would take that long, but that's what it ended up taking me by the time you make all the cuts, the measurements, burn it, paint it, put the stain on there. You got to fit each one of these 2x4s into the brackets here. They've all got to be cut individually. It just takes a lot of time to do that kind of stuff. So, and if you want it to look nice in the end, it's worth putting in a little bit extra time to make that look a little bit better. So yeah, all in all, cost-wise to do this project, I mean, I had the linseed oil and the mineral spirits, but minus that, I was about $40 in wood, and I had the screws. Let's say if you didn't have the screws, maybe another $5 in screws, and you don't need. I mean, I use a very small amount of either one of those. So like I said, I just had those. You could get a very small bottle of that. It's kind of expensive, so you're probably another $20 easy, if not more, $30 just in linseed oil. But I mean, you buy one of the small bottles, you'll have enough to coat this, half a dozen times. So, which you say the first coat doesn't take very much at all, just because the wood's new. As it weathers here over the summer, and I do it, in another couple months, it'll take more, and then next year, after it goes through winter, especially, it'll probably take quite a bit more. Oil, it'll soak in there. One thing that is important is make sure you've got the burnt look that you want. So places like this, I probably would have done just a little bit more, but I was in a hurry and not paying as much attention as I should have, and I didn't get it quite burnt as good as I should have. But my burn isn't perfectly even either. But oh well, it's the way it is. So it's a work truck. So anyway, that's about it for this video. That kind of wraps it up there. Good project to get done.